You know, it's been a rough few days for people trying to fly out of the Rochester Airport. Most departures were canceled yesterday. A handful more were either canceled or delayed today. News 10 NBC investigative reporter Jennifer Lukey continues our team coverage live from the airport. Jen, I'm happy to see you're inside. And you've been hearing from travelers. They're telling you they aren't being rebooked until Friday?
Yeah, that's right, Nikki. And yeah, 20 years doing this job, I learned to take the wins where I can get them. We're inside, but we're looking outside. So that's as good as being outside, right? In any event, if you have been trying to travel this week after Christmas, you know it has been a mess. The roads aren't great. The air travel isn't much better. Some people being delayed until later in the week, even overextending their welcome probably at some relatives' homes. But when it comes to flight cancellations, that is completely on the airlines themselves, not on the airport. In fact, the Rochester Airport actually takes pride in the fact that in the last decade, they have not closed these runways at all. This time of year, there are crews on 24/7 to keep the runways clear. Runways that were purposely designed for upstate New York winters.
So we just prepare the best that we can. And, fortunately in Rochester, we have a crosswind runway, which on a day like today is being used almost every single departure and arrival for obvious reasons, because you always want to take off and land with a headwind.
When flights are canceled,
it's airline decision, preemptive cancellations, because they don't want to get the pilot, crew, and more importantly, passengers stranded somewhere that doesn't benefit anybody, so they cancel the flight ahead of time.
If your flight is still on when the weather is questionable, it doesn't mean it's going to actually take off on time. Nothing rolls onto the runway this time of year until it's been de-iced.
They're constantly out there doing the best job they can, but when it snows, 6 inches and there's freezing rain, you want to make sure that aircraft is clean and safe, and it takes time to do that.
And that means?
In the morning, we have 13 departures before basically 7 o'clock, and it starts to back up if the crews need more time to de-ice and fuel because of weather conditions. And so usually in the wintertime, you get more of a backup in the early mornings than you do in the spring, summer, and fall.
Which means if you're booking a flight anytime in the next couple of months in the morning, you want to make sure to give yourself enough time if you have a connection that you're not racing across an airport somewhere else. Now, I want to show you this Aveo plane. It is heading out for de-icing right now. We've seen other planes sitting there getting the de-icer. And I should note that the only planes that actually made it out of here yesterday, Nikki, are the low-cost carriers. Oh. The Aveos, the Breeze, the Spirit, and because those fly directly to a site. They're not stopping over. They're not going to hubs. And so also something you might want to consider if you're flying in the winter.
Yeah, very interesting. And Jen, I know some people, they'll travel to Buffalo or Syracuse to fly. Is the situation any better or worse at those airports?
Buffalo was almost completely shut down yesterday. There were not many flights going out of there. It really largely depends on the weather. And as Stacy talked about, it can be very localized. But both of our airports to either side of us, the east and the west, experience almost the same type of situations that we do here.
I'm going to have to look into Avelo now. Thank you, Jen. And by the way, if you have travel plans this week, keep a close eye on the Rochester Airport's website. It has updated flight information on arrivals and departures. And we have a link in this story on WHEC.com.